Welcome to Art of Black Miami, a podcast sponsored by Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. Our stories introduce emerging and experienced artists who make Miami an exciting place to live and visit. I'm Rosie Gordon-Wallace, curator and arts advocate. Miami is home since the 1970s. My passion is cultivating the vision and talent of contemporary artists from the Caribbean diaspora, artists of color, and immigrant artists. Many cultures and languages come together to shape the character of Miami. Artist Najja Moon was born and raised in Durham, North Carolina. She studied at Pfeiffer University, just outside of Charlotte, before moving to Miami in 2009. In 2015, Najja co-founded the Black Family, a creative collective that brought locals together around culinary, visual, performing, and social arts.
The Black Family is an artist collective. There's about 10 of us that come together and put together different productions, different installations. Our primary program that we started with was a dinner. So we were just trying to be very conscious about tapping into all of the senses to provoke people to behave in a more kind way. So, how does the way the food smell kind of elicit this nostalgia that makes you think of home or makes you think of grandma? And then we do it family style intentionally, so you're passing plates, you're saying please and thank you. So that's always the goal, is how do we build genuine connections? How do we make people move in kindness and love?
She has lived and worked in different neighborhoods around Miami.
I spent some time in North Miami. I lived in Edgewater. My studio is at the Bakehouse Art Complex. Little Haiti has been kind of my home base for the last 6 years.
The Bakehouse became a creative incubator for Miami artists in 1985. The complex sits at the edge of what is now the Wynwood Arts District. Has the location influenced your work in a particular way?
I'm definitely very grateful for my space at Bakehouse, and place does have a lot to do with my growth. But I don't think about Bakehouse as a place in a geographic sense for me. It's more about, here's a place where there's full facilities, that I have access to a wood shop. My partner, who I share a studio with, she welds. We can go over to the welding shop and she can teach me metalworking. The fact that I'm in a community of 60, 70 other artists that I can bounce ideas off of. They can teach me a new skill set or introduce me to new tools. That's how place has impacted me, having a dedicated community that I work with and around.
You really are a multimedia artist. You had your start with drawing. Now you're working in sculpture and performance and sound. Recently, you've also developed your practice in the realm of public art. Will you share with me a bit more about that?
I think that as I've gotten more comfortable with gestural mark making, it feels good and very fluid, but I was trying to find ways to challenge myself and figure out how can I expand on what this mark making means. And so I started working on paper that was 9 feet instead of 10 inches by 12 inches. And then I said, how could I possibly extrude these drawings so they become three-dimensional? So I started getting copper wire and trying to make the drawings, but in a three-dimensional form. Those exercises helped me be able to propose public art projects.
Najja, I know you're from a musical family and you've played sports. How does your life experience play a role in your project? The Huddle is a prayer circle.
I'm definitely a product of where I'm from and who I'm from. Both of my parents are musicians, and I also played basketball through college, along with the musicality that a lot of folks and I myself see in the drawings. I also kind of see directions for movement that could be related back to basketball plays. With some of the upcoming projects that I have, I tried to address the drawings with more intention as opposed to just this subconscious thing. I was like, okay, if this is music, how do you read it? I designed my own sheet music, and I started drawing on the sheet music instead of blank paper. Then I took that over to different digital applications or even analog, oscilloscopes and synthesizers. If these are waveforms, Audio has a visual waveform. What does that sound like?
The City of Miami Beach put out an open call for artists to propose ways to occupy buildings that were vacant.
We all know a lot of businesses have not been able to survive this moment that we're in. And South Beach, with a lot of retail corridors, they have a lot of vacancies. And so they put out an open call to artists to propose ways to occupy those spaces and engage the public.
They offered you the Rotunda building in Collins Park on Miami Beach as a studio.
Specifically in relationship to the Huddle as a Prayer Circle, I'm turning the Rotunda into that stage. I'm imagining this kind of arena / pulpit, like trying to find the visual overlap between those two spaces for the performances that was to happen inside of. I'm working pretty intimately with a local musician named Dion. He's a bass player. He plays with the Smoogies. And he's been kind of my right-hand man in taking some of my experiments to a more melodic space. My end goal is to publish a hymnal, so to speak, with these drawings, and then have a performative aspect where I'm conducting musicians or working with musicians to perform the drawings.
The Bass Museum of Art selected your proposal for a new sound art project, Your Mama's Voice in the Back of Your Head. I love the title.
The Bass Museum started a new program called New Monuments, responding to the moment of critique around the things that we memorialize. And I said if I wanted to make a monument to something, it would be my mother. Coming from a space of making work in community and with community, I wanted to be intentional about the way I recognize my mother may be consistent with how other people also honor their mothers and including those voices. For me, I thought about psychologically, we all have built a monument to our mothers in our minds. Whether it's like you're at the table eating dinner and you don't want to finish your plate, and for some reason you're like, I can't waste food. It's because your mother said it to you so many times. So the work that I proposed is a sound piece, and it's this multi-directional speaker that will be kind of reiterating those kind of mantras and critiques.
But I put the added pressure that the world's already giving the kid. Like, this is supposed to be a place for nurturing, not a place for militants. So it's like, chill with that. And I get that from my mom. And that's what I hope to push forward. Is like, you can be extremely reaffirming. You can be extremely positive. You can do things in a really good way, and it doesn't make you soft.
You and your partner, the sculptor Giovanna Gonzalez, also a prominent artist in Miami, have been creating a video series on YouTube about the home that you made together. I have watched it. Tell us all more about that.
The series is called Aesthetics of Mobility. Over the course of the last 2 years now, we've been living in this box truck that we modified to be a tiny house of sorts. Living life as practice is the name of the physical space. We realized that we hadn't done the best job documenting the process of building the thing, and wanted to take a step back and reflect on why we made the decisions that we made from a conceptual standpoint, to think about how place and how people have impacted how we function in domestic space, how our artistic influences impacted the way we made design decisions. It's all about the house without being about the screws. We built this home. We have plans to use it as an exhibition space, to use it for public art programming. What has been the most exciting thing, I would argue, about this experience is learning about ourselves and about functionality and design through the process of living in this space.
This was an Art of Black Miami podcast sponsored by the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. I am Rosie Gordon-Wallace. Today we introduce you to artist Najja Moon. Engaging Miami's diverse communities, Najja brings together art, life, and social practice in her inspiring hands-on approach to creativity. We recorded this conversation inside the Ward Rooming House, an art space in the historic neighborhood of Overtown, a mecca for Black art and culture. Art of Black Miami highlights the year-round art and culture scene in Miami's heritage neighborhoods and across communities in Greater Miami and the beaches. If you are enjoying our stories, visit artofblackmiami.com to learn more. Engage us on social media, post and share using the hashtag ArtofBlackMiami. The Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau is an accredited, independent, not-for-profit sales and marketing organization. The GMCVB's mission is to attract visitors to Greater Miami and the beaches for leisure, business, and conventions. For up-to-date art events, promotions, and more information, visit artofblackmiami.com.